started doing. As I looked at our systems on campus, I saw that our financial system, it frustrated me no end because I couldn't get reports the way I wanted them. I couldn't get timely data. Give an example, I had a meeting with our college foundation. I asked the business office to give me the financials to go with that. They gave them to me for 6 months before. And I was going to go in to meet with our foundation board and give them 6 months of data from 6 months ago. I couldn't do that. So they had to work weekends to give me the up-to-date data that I needed. And that's the way the financial system was. And that's not acceptable, obviously. We had a homegrown student system. It's a great system, but it was built on old technology, and it's starting to show its age. And Lee and his folks have done a great job patching it up and keeping it going, but we knew we needed something different. Our courseware management system was proprietary and expensive. It was VIII College, and it was a Cadillac at that time of systems, but it was very, very expensive. So we had to change there. And so across the board, we had aging technology and some aging staff as well that I knew we had to replace. And I was worried about replacing those folks, so I knew we needed to go in a different direction. So Lee came to the rescue here, and he went to the Community College Foundation and got them to fund a little benchmark study that we did with about 4 or 5 other community colleges. And what they did is they came up with a list of criteria that we wanted to see in our future systems, and they looked at all the products that were out there and rated them on this criteria. And guess what? Nobody made the grade. Nobody got a passing grade. We couldn't find anything out there that really met all of our specifications. So we had to do something different. My 6th grade teacher pounded this into my head. Sometimes I can't stop this. Necessity is the mother of invention, because he said it over and over. He was a great teacher, but I wish he never would have said that to me. But it comes in handy at times, and so this is one of the times where, yeah, we needed to find something. We had a need here to find a different way. And so one of the things that we started doing was doing some reading, doing some research. And Lee and I came across this book, The Success of Open Source by Stephen Weber, and that was really a turning point as we started thinking in that direction. And, you know, personally, I was open to open source, if you will, because of my background. Not that I was a great programmer or anything, but I had some programming experience, and certainly when I was in graduate school, I did programming and was exposed to SEO, Xenix, and those types of open source applications. So I knew what it was, I knew a little bit about it, and I knew there were folks out there working in little pockets doing open source. So I was familiar with that concept. And then, as a researcher, I also did a lot of SAS programming. And SAS was a great system, but it was very expensive and difficult to work with. I knew there had to be better ways. So I was open to this idea just because of my background. So when you're a kid and your mom calls you for dinner and you're playing street football out there, and if you're tied or you're behind and you have to, try to make that last touchdown, it's the go long play or the Hail Mary that you have to throw. And that's where we were at Delta. We had the go long play, and that go long play was to go down to, as Brad mentioned before, go down to the Sedona conference, find out about open source. December 2nd, 2004. We had that now infamous lunch with Barry Walsh, John Robinson Lee, and myself. And, they tell the story about how I made the decision in 10 minutes and said, yeah, we're going to do this. And I did, in a way. But as you can see, there was a background there. I used to teach a class called Power and Social Change. And if you look at something like the Berlin Wall falling down, I used to tell my students that it didn't just happen overnight. It seemed like it happened overnight. There were lots of steps that happened before that to get you to that point. That's the same thing with this. I made that decision so quickly because we did our homework. We did the background. So we were ready for this. We were ready for a new challenge. And the way Barry and John described it, we were on board with that because it made sense to us. So we got that touchdown, or at least we thought we were on our way to do that. So the thing that they leave out of that story about the lunch is that I said, yes, we're going to do this. Then I had to go back to my campus. Remember that shared governance stuff? I had to go back to my campus and sell it to the campus and get everyone to agree. I had to get the board of trustees to agree, the academic senate, the management senate, the classified senate, all the food groups, as we call them. Everyone had to give the nod and say, yes, we agree to this. So these were the selling points that we came up with. We've done the study. We had the data to show that the other options were unattractive and they were very costly. They were going to cost us way more money doing the open source route. just fantastic because they had resources that we could only dream about. We were starting not from scratch. We're actually starting, there have been consortia in the community colleges and mature universities where one comes to mind, the Buzzio project, where lots of community colleges put money into this, building this software system, student system, and they spent millions and millions of dollars. And last I heard, what was left of Buzzio was in a cardboard box in a warehouse in Phoenix, Arizona that John Robinson had somewhere, and so John ended up with that. So that's how a lot of these consortia ended up. They were not successful, but we knew this one was going to be different because we were starting off with a proven product, the Indiana University financial system. That was where we started. The idea was to upgrade that system with new technology, and that's what we started out doing. So we knew we had a greater chance of success from the beginning. And the other selling point was that we told people that we have unique needs being part of the community college system. The unique needs that maybe universities don't have, we were going to make sure that our needs were met in doing this project, and that's the way it's turned out. So we got on board and we started having meetings and we developed our work plan. I can't talk about this in detail because frankly I'm not the one who did the boots on the ground kind of stuff, but we did our gap analysis, we did looking at what resources we had, the project management, and then what it would take to implement our work plan. And so Matt or Lee or someone is probably better to go over this, and maybe they could answer questions about this later if you have them, but this is basically what we did, and then this is the KFS implementation plan that we came up with, the same kind of structure and all the different tasks that we had to do. So that's what we set about doing. So this, for me, is one of the critical pieces, though, developing partnerships, not just with the universities, though, but we had a partnership in the beginning with R-Smart. From that very first lunch that we had with John Robinson, R-Smart became our partner, and frankly, we wouldn't be where we are without R-Smart. I mean, they have brought so much to us. We had some very good project managers at Delta. Lee's one of the best I've ever worked with. But he's pulled in a lot of different ways, and so we need help at times with project management, certainly. R-Smart has kept us on task moving forward with steady progress. When we have a certain need, they can bring in a Dave Lyons or some other person who really is a subject matter expert in a particular area and bring them to help us get through a particular issue that we're dealing with. And otherwise, we wouldn't have access to that type of a person. And then also, we've had, as I mentioned, our ups and downs. We've had our crisis issues. They've been very instrumental in helping us deal with those issues. So having the partnership with R-Smart is really critical to our success. So this is a picture of some of the training going on at Delta. And so you can see lots of planning, lots of travel, lots of meetings, lots of training, and lots of hard work in the end. We saw that Kuali, the movie, here at the beginning, and if I was going to pick the music to that little film, this is what I would pick. To me, it was a very inspiring thing, but I have to tell you that this isn't really a race. We're not out to be the first in anything. We're just out to do it right. We're out to implement this so that our people can benefit from it. It's going to be around to help us for a long time to come. So what we learned, some of the lessons that we learned. So we learned that open or community source has multiple benefits. We developed our own student system, as I mentioned, in the past, in the early 90s. We realized that we couldn't do that in the future. We didn't have the resources, we didn't have the people power to do it. It's just, for one institution to do it alone, it's just not going to happen now or in the future. So collaboration was really what it was all about, what it's still all about. Joining this project, we were able to leverage our resources, and not just money, but money's part of it because we were able to attract money from the Mellon Foundation, as you see, and the other institutions have a lot more money than us, and they put that into the kitty, but it was really about the brain power, too.